Good morning, good afternoon to you and to the viewers at home. We are in Johannesburg and Braamfontein where the Black First Land First movement were having a press briefing regarding what is really known in the country as a feud between Mboro as well as Bushiri. It is no secret that the two religious leaders have been in loggerheads. This is not the first time. It's been so for a number of years now. And truly knowing what BLF stands for, their cry is that they are seeing two prominent black leaders having a dispute amongst each other, which then gives room for people who want to see the black nation really on the ground, giving them room to continue with their mandate and succeed in seeing the black people more poor than they actually are. Also, BLF leader Anthony Tama was also speaking on what Togo Didiza announced yesterday, that they will be giving out 700 million hectares of land to people, to black people within the country. This also goes back to even what the name of the party is, black land. They want land for the black person. And they say that this is an insult, but let me not continue reiterating and just let Andile tell us and the viewers what is really their stance on this. Andile, we will start with Pastor Mboro and Prophet Bushiri. One would say that this is a feud between religion. What does it have to do with politics? Why are you feeling that it is of importance to come in and mediate between the two in order to find peace between them?
It is because the conditions of black people is total. It's political, it's spiritual, it's economic, it's cultural. Our condition as black people is a total condition of exclusion. And, all of us, people who are in the political space, end up going to church, or we were brought up in church. And for Black First Land First specifically, we have a relationship with both Pastor Mboro and Prophet Bushiri. So when we see these two men of God at war like it has happened, we feel very strong that it affects our agenda of uniting black people, and therefore we need to find peace. The things that we heard Prophet Mboro being saying about Prophet Bushiri are really untenable. He has xenophobic statements.
Yes.
We have had statements of Bushiri must go home. Now this matter is in court and the media is feeding on it. We say no. There is a way in which we do things in Africa, and you as leaders show us a true leadership, and that's why we're calling for Pastor Mboro to hold on, not to unleash. And these two men of God, we're asking them to seek rather what is known as an alternative dispute mechanism, which has been formed by African value system, which is restorative justice, and not forgetting, of course, the people that Mboro claims have been wronged by Pastor or Prophet Bushiri. So we believe that can be done, because we want this to happen so that we can focus our attention on the big problems and crises affecting our people. In our imagination and in our hope is that these two brilliant, dynamic men of God could stand together with us to confront the real problems of economic exclusion of our people, the corruption, the human trafficking. We are a people in real deep crisis, and we can't afford to have our religious leaders also fighting amongst themselves instead of helping us to get out of this situation.
Indeed, Andile, yesterday there was an announcement by Minister Togo Didiza saying that there will be an open tender for land, for people to claim land, and of which is 700,000 hectares. Amongst that, we are seeing multiple arrests. Could it be that these are strategically put so that people do not consciously see really the bigger picture, so that, if I could put it in a way, we are going to be more focused on the arrests than the very important announcement on land? And within that important announcement of land, we find that really it's not even a percentage of the total land in the country. Could it be that it is tactics to let the people of this country focus on one particular thing while the other very important one is happening?
Well, they started by making us dance to Jerusalem. I mean, that is part of the diversionary tactics. We love the song.
Yes.
It's a very powerful song, but it's been used. The thing that we love when respect has been used to make us go to sleep instead of answering the big questions that our president, President Ramaphosa, must answer. It is true that removing our attention from the fact that the first person in this country to answer for corruption is the state president, President Ramaphosa. And he is not being called to account, and they are using these diversionary tactics of arresting people in a very staged manner. You know, I mean, it's shocking that the Hawks are arresting somebody, but the media is outside. How did the media know that this time and this day somebody's going to get arrested? So they issue press conferences to play a whole media spectacle to remove our attention from the real big problems. 500 billion rand disappeared in 3 months. Where did that money go? The 500 billion rand money that was designated for our people to help us through the COVID-19 difficulty, that money has disappeared into the pockets of the friends and sponsors of the president of this nation. And instead of addressing that, we see President Zuma being insulted basically by the Zondo Commission, and we see on the other hand this insult of less than 1% talk of land offer. They say we must go to a tender process as the landless. Imagine landless people. People that I work with every day here in Ekurhuleni who are being evicted, desperate, poor, have not even a piece of land for a home. They are being told, and they've been evicted by the same government. They've been told they must now wait for an advert, and then they must respond to an advert, and then later on they will have to buy this land. So this government is not serious about addressing the land question. It is very clear under this regime of the Ramaphosa and the ANC, the land expropriation without compensation promise was just a trick to get votes of black people. They have the votes, they're not moving on it. And of course, a shocking thing, what are the political parties, other political parties in parliament saying? Nothing. You know, people don't know this. They have made a decision in parliament that a report will come only perhaps the end of December about this land expropriation without compensation question. A question which they were on the elections. Both the EFF and the ANC were saying they're going to give us land expropriation without compensation. There's no talk. What they're giving us, less than 1% of what? Unused, unwanted land of the state. This is our land already. In fact, they are offering us our own land. In South Africa, the state owns about 14% of the land only. 80% of the land is in the hands of 35,000 white families. That is what we're talking about when we talk about land redistribution. Taking land from this white minority which stole our land to redistribute amongst our people. Now that is not happening. Instead, the little land that we have already, 14% is ours because the state is our state. But even that, they are offering this so-called unused land, and then you need a tender. So they're giving each other this land. You know, it's a big joke, it's a big insult. We are not impressed at all.
And lastly, we're going to talk about unemployment. You know, we've seen the stats coming out, and they're actually saying 3 million people in the country have lost their jobs during the COVID-19 pandemic. And then again, the Statistician General says that the unemployment rate has decreased. Does this make sense, really? Because when they questioned, they say that the 3 million are people who are not going to contribute to the job markets to begin with. Does it really make sense for the country to say that there is a decrease in unemployment, yet there's 3 million people who lost their jobs during the COVID-19, and a further 7 million could end up losing their jobs by the end of the pandemic?
Yeah, I think we must call it the statistical Hagga. You know, those who know soccer, you know, it's like I'm going there, but I'm going. So they just it's a body move, you know, to confuse us again. Like you're right, the statistics coming out say that, well, employment decreased, right, to like 23%. And you know why they say that. At the same time, you all know 3 million people, up to 7 million people lost jobs. It is because South Africa have this statistical Higgy I'm talking about, where unemployed people, if you have not looked for a job for 3 months, you are not counted as unemployed. So
How are you going to look for a job?
Exactly. How are we going to look for a job during COVID-19? So they just look at, they did not count all these people who are unemployed during the COVID-19, because of course we are under lockdown, therefore we're not looking for jobs, right? And then even when the actual numbers, you added 3 million people in the unemployment list, it's much longer than what it was. But this statistical game give you the impression that of course we're doing better now. So it's our government should not have released a statistic like that, because it shows again they're playing games.
Yeah. And that was Andile Mkritama of the BLF saying that the government is playing a Hagga, which reminds me of the Atu